We breathe in the divine, sacred, and holy breath. And exhale anything and everything that does not match all that is sacred. We breathe in the divine, sacred, and holy breath. And with our exhale, we release and surrender anything and everything that does not match all that is holy. And as we return to our normal breathing pattern, we're reminded that all that is divine, all that is sacred, all that is holy is within our breath, is within our life, is within us, each of us individually, all of us collectively, as the I am that I am. Let us consecrate this time together in stillness and sacred silence to the building of this spiritual muscle, the I am that I am, in the center of each of us. Consider allowing it to become a bigger and bolder, wider, thicker, broader place and space within you to serve you at every moment, at every point, most needed by your soul's journey. I invite you to infuse this place within you with love and light intelligence, with a grateful heart. See it serve willingly and lovingly, unconditionally lovingly. And by your permission, allow it to have more of its full sway in, through, and as your very life. Try to find where it's located for you. If you're not certain, you can always use the heart space. If it comes to you in a different location, there are no mistakes. And we rest in this place of the Most High. See if this place within has a color, a fragrance. See if you can enlarge this space. Perhaps turn up a volume or dial so that it may serve you better. So you are more in tune with it. This is your divine portal. By your willingness, allow it to serve you. By your willingness, we increase the connection, increase the receptivity. By your willingness, allow for divine health and wholeness to course through your veins. By your willingness, allow for divine health and wholeness to enter and access every organ, action, function, cell, and fiber, atom, molecule of your beingness. Eradicating anything that does not match that, just through the exhales, through the soles of our feet. By our willingness to surrender all lower frequencies to the highest and best good. Again, allowing divine health and perfect wholeness to course through the veins, to infuse every organ, action, function, cell, and fiber of our being. Eradicating any lower frequencies or vibrations that no longer serve us. Release and surrender with our exhales through the soles of our feet to Gaia, Mother Earth, to recycle, restore, refresh, make new, repurpose. Once again, we breathe in the divine, sacred, and holy breath. And with our exhale, we release and surrender all that does not match all that is divine, sacred, and holy. Still connected to the center of the I am that I am. Allow this place within to serve you in a bigger, bolder, and brighter way than ever before. By your connectivity, by your receptivity. In spirit, what we consider miracles are ordinary. Proclaim and claim your miracle. Miracles. And so with your next inhalation, let's just allow for our heart space to fill with gratitude. Gratitude on the inhalation, gratitude on the exhalations. grateful for this time of stillness and remembering the divine, sacred, and holy is within, nearer to us than our hands and feet, closer to us than our very breath. And with your next breath, I invite you to connect fully to the body temple, to the physical, returning back to this present moment in time. You may want to just lightly press your feet against the floor, being certain you can feel the ground, earth supporting you, wiping away all that no longer serves. You may want to tap the fingertips gently together to bring the physical back, fully connected to this moment. And we rest with a grateful heart as we return fully to the physical, allowing for the outer eyelids to gently open, becoming aware of the temperature in the room, one another. I'm grateful to each of you. I am. This concludes the meditation portion of today's service. Blessings to each of you. Namaste.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too.
God loves you and I love you too.
Feel that love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together.
Come together.
We come together.
We come together.
In the name of love. Look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you.
Recognize the God in you.
Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
From every walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship we unite, in honor of the love of each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, namaste, I bow to you.
Namaste, I bow to you.
Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet now. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 everybody, get up on your feet now. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. So let's be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm in the right place at the right time, just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time, just where I'm supposed to be. And my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Yes, I'm in the right place at the right time, just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time, just where I'm supposed to be. And my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. I am hearing the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 Yeah. Soul is welcome here. I said, my soul is welcome here. Yeah, my soul is welcome here. Yeah, my soul is welcome here. And your soul is welcome. And my soul is welcome here. Yeah, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. Getting a message loud and clear. Getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Here's Ann.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you, Dream Band. Such a great opening. Is my mic on? Yes. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Center for the Realization of Spirit in Redlands. Thank you to everyone joining us live in our beautiful sanctuary, and to those who follow us on Facebook Live and watch remotely on YouTube. Welcome. My name is Ann, and it is truly an honor and privilege to welcome you to our Sunday celebration service. We are a new thought, spiritual community, and all-inclusive to all the spiritual truths from all the world's religious traditions and spiritual paths. We focus on the philosophy of science of mind, which was developed in the early 20th century by writer and lecturer Reverend Dr. Ernest Holmes, who developed a fresh new way for us to look at ourselves and how we fit into our world. We honor all people from every background, all races, sexual orientations, gender expressions, and spiritual paths. Yay! No matter who you are or where you are on your journey of faith, you are always welcome here. If you are with us for the first time, please raise your hand and allow us to properly greet you. Welcome, welcome. Someone will come around with a little packet for you to take home. We're so happy you're here. And we are delighted to have all of you with us this morning. A gentle reminder to please silence your cell phones and put them safely away so you can participate more fully in the service. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
About 7 years ago, I think it was, our music director at the time said, we need more percussion in this place. So I went and bought this little thing that's called a cajon. And to the best of my knowledge, this is the first time we've ever used it. This is going to be our centering song. It's your chance to kind of close your eyes and think about your spiritual journey here. There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far, over land and sea. A little shy and sad of eye, oh, but very wise was he. And then one day, a magic day, he passed my way. While we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. Then one day, the very day he passed my way, while we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you ever learn, just to love and be loved in return. The greatest thing you'll ever learn, just to love and be loved in return. Just to love and be loved in return. Just to love and be loved in return.
So I invite you to turn within, however that's comfortable for you. And let's together take in the divine, sacred, and holy breath. We breathe that in. And with our exhale, we release and surrender all that does not match, all that is divine, all that is sacred, and all that is holy. Just let it go. If it doesn't match that, it no longer serves you, it's not needed. And again, we breathe in the divine, sacred, and holy breath. And exhale and surrender all lower frequencies and vibrations. Let it go back to the nothingness from which they came. And as we return to our normal breathing pattern, we're reminded that the divine, all that is sacred and all that is holy, is here and now in this place. It's in this space. It's in me. It is in you. It is the truth of your very life. And if you can be with that and declare that as an affirmation, let's say together, I am divine. I am complete. I am perfect. I am holy, holy. And that is the truth about me. So not much more needs to be added to this prayer. And as we always do, we remember those who have called our prayer ministry. We're going to see in our mind's eye Patty B is whole, complete, and perfect. Divine health coursing through the veins of Patty B, Ellen, DC, and Bonnie T. Where they are, God is. We send our heart to the heart of Holly, who lost Quinky this week. The beloved baby's going to be making a cloud in the image of Quinky for Holly. And also her sister, Denise, in January of this year. So for all those who have called our prayer ministry, we take a moment to connect in the center of our center to the center of their center, for there's only one life happening. See each as whole, complete, and perfect. It's how Spirit sees us. Perfect God, perfect person. Perfect God, perfect me. Perfect God, perfect you. I'm going to say perfect Spirit, perfect God, and just say your name. Perfect. Yes. Let's do it again. Perfect God, perfect. Perfect God, perfect Spirit, perfect. And that's the truth always. And so we always call forth for peace in our prayers every Sunday. I'm going to invite us to do that together. For all areas that are in struggle and conflict and strife within the world, let's see humanitarian aid and supplies, food and water reach those areas now. Let's see a way being made and cleared where in the physical it doesn't look possible. And it happens anyway. In the Spirit, all miracles are ordinary. Call them forth. Let's join together and send peace through the center of our sanctuary space. Throughout each of us individually, peace must come from within each of us. Let's try to find it within. We send it out when we find it. Send it through our family units. Send it through the family units that are both biological and the family units we've created to support and sustain and maintain our journey here now. See this peace that passes human understanding in our city. Let's see it now in the country. Call it forth in all world leaders to change their minds and policies and actions toward peace. The peace that passes human understanding. Peace with a capital P. There needs to be no reason or explanation. It's just a mind shift and a mindset. Together, let's call that forth where two or more are gathered and send it through our energetic field of awareness. Peace. See peace shields through every city, village, and town in Ukraine, from border to border, north to south, east to west. See peace prevail in Gaza Strip, Israel, Palestine. See peace in Armenia and the Sudan and all the areas that have not realized peace. See it as possible. See it as ultimate, see it as manifest and demonstrated right here and right now. Let's hold that together in our mind's eye and in our hearts and in our highest consciousness. And I'm going to add a couple quotes, which I normally don't do in a prayer. From Galatians, from Scripture 5:13. For you were called to freedom, only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love serve one another. From Michelle Goodrich, freedom is the atmosphere in which humanity thrives. Breathe it in. Let's breathe in that freedom. From Scott Aubrey, today we claim freedom for all Americans, indeed for all people everywhere. Though they may be in bondage, we see them free in the Spirit, completely loved by the divine, and we affirm that their true nature, their equality, is recognized and honored throughout the land. In our government, our workplaces, schools, neighborhoods, and in our hearts, we proclaim freedom for all. And so I bless this service as it continues to unfold with ease and grace. I bless each board member and person who will speak to uplift all those who are within the sound of our voices. I bless the Dream Band for their amazing music, which uplifts and cracks open all who are ready to receive a blessing, a demonstration, a manifestation, a realization, and a mind shift for your highest and best good. Can you feel it? Something special is happening even now. Can you feel that? I can feel that. And together we affirm with a grateful heart, and so it is. Amen and Ashe. And now our board member, Ann Spears, is going to come up for the reading.
Good morning again. I'll be reading from the Science of Mind text this morning, pages 419 and 420, not the entire pages. A mystic is one who intuitively perceives truth and who, without conscious mental process, arrives at spiritual realization. The mystics include the great prophets, the inspired writers, the illumined souls of all ages. What we have received from them constitutes the greatest intellectual and spiritual heritage of the ages. All the mystics have recognized the absolute unity of God and man. With the infinite mind, each individual exists, not as separated, but as a separate and distinct entity. We are a point in universal consciousness, which is God. We are not separated from life, neither is it separated from us, but we are separate entities in it, individualized centers of God consciousness. True mystics have not denied the reality of individuality. They have all agreed that the soul is on the pathway of experience, of self-discovery, on the way to its Father's house. They have told us of the marvelous relationship which exists between God and man, of a close union which cannot be broken. Thank you.
A thought's a beginning, a magical start. It sets events spinning, whirling out from your heart. Everything traded, bartered or bought, each thing that's created began as a thought. Well, thoughts are things, things are thoughts. Ideas have wings to soar aloft, dreams and wishes unconfined. Mind matters, matter minds. Imagine a world, that's all it takes. Picture an ocean, sparkling rivers and lakes. Envision an Eden, hold it close in your mind. Believe that it's real, here's what you'll find. A beautiful pearl floating in space, a place of abundance filled with love's sweet embrace. One vibrant creation, feel the joy of it all. Sense the interconnection of all things great and small. Thoughts are things, things are thoughts. Ideas have wings to soar aloft. Dreams and wishes unconfined. Mind matters, matter minds. From the least of ideas to the greatest abstractions, the universe acts on beliefs and reactions. As within, so without, as above, so below. We move beyond doubt and know what we know. That thoughts are things, things are thoughts. Ideas have wings to soar aloft. Dreams and wishes unconfined. Mind matters, matter minds. All thoughts are things, things are thoughts. Ideas have wings to soar aloft. Dreams and wishes unconfined. Mind matters, matter minds. Mind matters, matter minds.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dream Band.
Al Yankee wrote that song. Those very fingers.
And thank you to Al. Thank you, Gilman, our music director. Thank you, Mac, on the drums. Mac Attack. Isn't it awesome to have a Dream Band? I think that's beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Give it up again for the Dream Band. So good morning, everybody. My name's Brother Mark. I'm a practitioner emeritus, means 20 or more years of service to Science of Mind communities in Southern California. So I want to welcome everybody within the sound of my voice and the newcomers who are here. It's really a joy whenever my eyes open and I see all the new faces and all the people. It's really a blessing. I want you to know that you are a blessing and that our time together is very sacred. It's a holy time. There may not ever be another time where we're all literally able to be together. So let's make the most of it. If anybody's having trouble hearing, I noticed a couple people are, you're welcome to move forward. We're not a formal place. Just come up forward so you can hear and enjoy the service as much as you want. All right? Make it your home. Feel comfortable. So today is a very, very special talk topic. It is, how have Science of Mind principles or practices, how have they positively impacted your life? And we're going to start with the board members, the board of trustees and the musicians. And then if you have something too that's a minute or less that you want to share, the mic will be open for that. So it may go a little longer than normal on the service. And we're going to start with Ann, so make your way up. And then I'll put up a sign if it's going too long. All right, it's like an open mic on how Science of Mind has impacted your life. And if you're not sure about the basics, we do have a lending library in the back where you can pull a reading and take it home with you if you like. There's plenty of books back there. Is this mic on already? Let's use the pulpit mic. And then for those that don't want to come up, we'll use the hand mic. Phil Courtney, you should be up in the front if you would. And then when you're next, just come up front.
Okay. So I just wanted to share my Science of Mind story. It's just a little, very brief. I grew up religious. I went to private Christian school, and I learned judgment and fear and hell at a very young age. I attracted experiences and relationships that were full of shame, guilt, and judgment. What's the point of trying if I'm already doomed, was kind of my mindset. I had a view of God as this principal type in the sky, sitting on a throne and taking inventory of every single one of my shortcomings. And this lasted almost 40 years. I began meditating in 2018 and was introduced to Abraham Hicks through a course I was taking called Money Mentality Makeover. Abraham's teachings are directly in line with Ernest Holmes' teachings, even though I still didn't know who Ernest Holmes was yet, nor about the science of mind at this time. As my journey progressed, I obviously left the church and began my search for a true spiritual community based in love and not preaching and teaching fear. I moved away from the Bible Belt in Oklahoma and headed to sunny Southern California in search of my soul tribe. I began working with other spiritual advocates and finished my first book, Become the Butterfly, A Spiritual Involution. It was my co-author who introduced me to Ernest Holmes. As I read about Ernest Holmes and the science of mind, I was thrilled to learn that what was revealed to me in meditation and during the process of writing my book was also what Ernest had discovered to be truth. I began to read Ernest Holmes' literature and used his practices in my daily life, affirmative prayer, revisioning, etc. I eventually found this wonderful spiritual community just by happenstance when I was walking the Redlands Farmers Market one Saturday and bumped into Holly. I have taken a few classes as well to deepen my understanding of the science of mind, and I'm finding great value in practicing spiritual treatments as opposed to begging and pleading to something outside of myself. The science of mind is what I know to be the truth. There is no God in the sky keeping score of my shortcomings, only the energy of God flowing to me and through me 24/7. The science of mind helps me move energy on purpose and create on purpose through my focus and my belief. Having the faith of a mustard seed is all that is required, and that I can manage. Thank you.
This is a board member as well, Phil Courtney. He wanted a formal introduction.
Very good. I'll take an informal introduction too.
Eileen, you're on deck. Come on
All
up
right,
forward.
Eileen. Thank you. Phil Courtney, yes, I'm on the board of trustees. Good morning. Glad to meet you all here today. In case you're wondering, this was my father's shirt. He wore it to his 50th wedding anniversary. We were requested to all wear Hawaiian shirts today, or that day, and Al's got his Hawaiian shirt on today, and Gilman, any other Hawaiian shirts? My goodness. Great minds think alike. Thank you. I then wore it 3 years later to his memorial celebration, and I take this shirt out when there's special days. So it's a special shirt, sacred almost. My father, who was an extremely intelligent lawyer, always liked to say, "Let us reason together. Let's look at the evidence when considering some contentious issues," often punctuated with a jabbing index finger in his statement, "I submit to you," often during one of our many conversations that lasted 35 years. One of his favorite parts of the Bible was the account the time this lawyer, yes, a lawyer, questions Jesus about entering the kingdom of heaven, and Jesus tells the story of the Good Samaritan. My dad was also an extremely out-of-the-box Republican back in those days, who opposed executions, had no problem with gay people, and hated guns. Yes, a Republican. It's fewer of my dads these days, who once ran for the California State Assembly. So this was the background when my father reacquainted himself with the science of mind in the 1980s after I'd given him a copy of the monthly Science of Mind magazine, given to me in turn by a friend's Science of Mind aunt. He eventually moved through the steps to become a practitioner over in Riverside and Corona. One of the reasons my dad likes Science of Mind, and I do too, is the fact that you don't have to check your rational mind in the lobby while walking in. And instead, using this word advisedly, turn to the faith we can place in looking at the evidence. As I often say when introducing myself here at the Redlands Center for the Realization of Spirit, when I'm beginning one of my Almanac talent shows, which Al was gracious enough to appear in last April's, the words science and mind are essential because we both support science unapologetically, as well as believe in having a mind, and more importantly, using it. Many religions require that you shut off your questioning mind and using your mind to reason to determine what is also called faith. When logical questions are raised about a number of issues, far too many fall back on the answer to these questions with an all too simple statement, well, you just have to have faith. Faith is not necessary when you face the truth and acknowledge it. As for the value of questioning, I love a statement by the great physicist Richard Feynman. Do you have any Richard Feynman fans out there? All right, Rick. He was over in Pasadena. He helped solve the mysterious 1986 Challenger shuttle explosion and said, I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned. So here's a question that Pontius Pilate once, we were told, once asked Jesus, what is the truth? Well, this is just me thinking. Another part of Science of Mind that I value is the idea that we can all form our own answers to questions about such subjects as the supernatural. Some here believe in angels. I don't, myself, but no one says you can't believe that. Or even you must believe this. What I've always totally embraced, though, is the belief that everyone can get down with a statement by the founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, when he wrote that there's a power for good in the universe, and you can use it. I tell even atheists, and I do have friends who are, I tell them, even you can embrace that wisdom because that power can be seen as either natural or supernatural, or perhaps for some both. As for that power, I don't know about you, but I use it every time I get out of bed in the morning. Even on those days lately when I don't want to, particularly on mornings when I've been reading world news late into the night, when I just want to pull the covers over my head. Anyway, I love Science of Mind because of what my dad said about being able to think and reason. And as for Jesus, there he is. Well, there's an artist rendering, and I've seen thousands in Europe. As for Jesus and all the many conflicting versions of the truth about him, once again, let's look at the evidence. Although we can only have the biblical accounts of his life to go on, written decades after he was gone, and many question even those, with no contemporary unbiased accounts of what he did, nevertheless, we can take from his life this essential fact, that we can follow in his footsteps, not because he was a unique combination of God and man, or even God himself, but because he was a human, and we can only hope to be like someone when they too are human and not supernatural. Of course, here we think everyone's divine. I think elephants are divine and all life on earth. Last two paragraphs. For me, the truth we can take from the life of Jesus, the teachings we have, the essence of which is to love God, whatever you see that word to be, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And by clothing the naked, healing the sick, housing the homeless, feeding the hungry, and helping them along the way to a better future, as we have done here at the center. This is what Christianity is for me, and my continuing sadness comes when I see this type of Christianity, loving your neighbors, has not caught on with more people here in my own country, and particularly now in the region of his birth. So this is science of mind for me, plainly spoken and with a willingness to tell it like it is. And if this evidence makes sense to you, I invite you to look further into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Eileen Swenson, one of our board members.
Thank you, Phil. Good morning. I am Eileen, a board member, and I'm kind of doing this on the wing here. I forgot all about it, if you can believe that. I forgot is a mantra that I have had now for several years. But science of mind impacted my life by putting me in control of my life. Now, we know that Ernest isn't the first one to come up with some of this you're in control stuff. In Hebrews, we know that it is said that faith is the substance of things hoped for. It is the evidence of things unseen. So there we have it, faith. It's our responsibility to be in control of our faith. And Jesus said, anything that you ask of the Father in my name, believing that you have it, you shall have it. And there we have it again, belief. It is our belief that puts us in control of our lives. And so it's very challenging sometimes to be in control of my life. I really don't like the responsibility sometimes. I have to put it on myself, and that's not fair. Not fair at all. My mom and dad are gone, so I cannot go crying to them for help. Come on, Mom. Come on. My brother, well, he was 6.5 years older than me, and he just would pat me on the head and shush me away. So being in control, science of mind, puts you in control of your life. And you can take control literally by believing and accepting and knowing for sure that there is an end result. There is an end result to your faith. There is an end result to your belief. And that's what impacted my life about science of mind, and I'm grateful for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, our music director, that was Eileen, thank you. Gilman Carver, our music director. And Audrey, you're on deck.
Check one.
You want to speak from there or here? It's up to you.
Okay, so my parents never went to church. Not once. But my dad believed in 5 words which are in the Bible. They're also in the Torah. They're also in the Quran. Any guesses? Love your neighbor as yourself. Period. That's it. You don't need 10 commandments. You don't need this, that, and the other. Just do that, and that's enough. He always impressed that on us. My mom had a great idea of allowing us to go to different churches and see what fits. My older sister went to church a few times. She didn't like it, so she stayed home one Sunday, and people came from that church to our house saying, why wasn't your daughter in church last Sunday? She argued with them, and she ended up chasing them down the driveway with a broomstick. But years later, my parents got divorced, and my mom moved down to San Diego, and she got involved in Science of Mind. And in about 2004, she began having some health problems, so she asked me to move from Newport Beach, where I'd grown up, down to San Diego to take care of her. And I would push her little wheelchair down about a couple blocks down to the local CRS, which is Midtown Church of Religious Science, led by Reverend Kevin Busey, who's just wonderful. His assistant minister was a specialist in Buddhism. And one Sunday they were talking about Buddhism. He passed out the Eightfold Path of the Buddha. And I'm going, I like this. I really like this, 10 Commandments are 10 things not to do. Eightfold Path of the Buddha is 8 things you should be doing every day. Okay, so I still keep that in my wallet, just for reference. But Kevin Busey was just all over the map. One day he'd come in and spend a whole hour talking about Buddhism or Islam or Hinduism or something, or American Indian beliefs. He had us, bow to the east because it represents such and such, and bow to the west because it represents. And he'd talk a lot about Shakespeare and Rumi and all these, philosophers and poets and stuff like that. And I'm going, this is good, We don't need to focus on just one religion. It's nice to know that there's all these different religions and all these different beliefs, and we can take the good parts from each of those. So it was a real revelation to me that MCRS is, when all the other CRSs changed to CSLs, they changed their name to Universal Spirit Center. And I hope they're still going great down there. Anyway, so that's my take,
Okay, thank you, Gilman. Now we have our board treasurer, Audrey Nesvold, will speak from the place that Audrey is in.
Okay, thank you, Mark. This has been 2 people who have spoken from the board, and I've discovered new things about both of them. This is wonderful. I'm loving this process. I have to say that I took this challenge that I felt kind of a challenge. That's how I view having to get up in front of people and speak. It is a challenge. And I took the words, how Science of Mind was positively impacting my life. And the first thing I have to say is, Dr. Ruth, if you're listening right now, I am not doing as I was taught. Ruth was truly a very, very detailed person. And she would, in one of the classes that I was in, she taught all the practitioners how to mind map when you were to give a speech in front of a congregation. And then the process was the mind mapping, and then the process was getting 3 quotes, and there was to be no more. There was to be a quote, very specific person. There was to be a quote from Ernest Holmes. There was to be a quote from the Bible, and there was to be a quote from wherever you chose. So there were 3 to drive and reveal your point. And she then had all of us do a lecture on a Sunday. And so I called that Terror Sunday for me. But, and who was critiquing was Dr. Ruth, sitting in the audience. So what I did with this process, I have to say, I don't have a mind map. So I literally did my process of just typing, of just letting the words flow, and it bubbled up. I started typing the answer to the statement of how my life has been affected by Science of Mind. And it was about opening doors into myself. In the discovery of Science of Mind, it truly was opening doors into myself. Each door has been another level of spiritual awakening. When you open the first door, the next door always presents itself. The next awakening that you can choose to or not choose to open. And I just learned that by opening the door, you don't get to back out of it and shut it. You're in it. You've stepped into it. Oh, well. And I then figured out in this process, as I worked on this mini talk, was that my journey started when I was born in the Midwest. It truly, because I kept thinking about how I got from there, the past, to here in this present moment, sitting in this church. I just kept going back and back and back. And my parents were Catholic, and we went to church every single Sunday. There was no excuse for missing, and all the children attended church on Sunday. So my upbringing was a very religious in its process, because I also went to a parochial school. And so I was very embedded in the education of Catholicism. And so then I moved to a place of, in looking back at everything that occurred to right now, that everything's connected. It's all interconnected, truly. Be whatever you call it, Muslim, Science of Mind, Catholic, Protestant, we are all truly connected. And I would have to say that seeds were planted before I walked through the doors of this church, in this community. I look back at a seed that was planted by a metaphysical teacher I had. His name is John Yacht. He has long left the planet. But he did talk about the openness that existed in Science of Mind. And that if we were looking for a place to have as the Buddhists call, a Sangha, a place to go, on a place to recharge yourself, to see if you are on the path, that a good Sangha would be Science of Mind. Because Science of Mind was very open to all. And that was part of his love of Science of Mind. So I didn't forget that as he was teaching me. And then, when we had our first child, Melissa, our oldest, I then was on a mission. The mission was to find a place for my child to learn, to be educated. I mean, that's my background. From the very beginning, I learned spirituality. It is part of life. And so I needed to find a place that would be a comfortable place for me and for her. And by that point in my life, when I had my very first little one, Catholicism has fallen on the wayside for me. There was too many restrictions. It just was not open. And so I was on the mission of looking at Science of Mind. And so when I walked through the door of this church in Redlands, I walked through many Science of Mind churches in the Inland Empire, walking through each one with my children. I was trying to find home for my child, my first child, and for myself. When I walked through the door of this church, the very first person to introduce themselves to me was David Wilkerson. It's like, wow. David came up to me And he wanted me to know that there was a nursery for little ones and that I could use it if I felt comfortable doing it with the little one I brought with me, Melissa. Melissa was a toddler, and she met Rosemary. And there may only be one person in this room that knows who I'm referring to when I say Rosemary, because Rosemary goes back a long way. We now have another Rosemary, but that Rosemary goes back a long way. And she would sit in the nursery on a rocker, and she was the caregiver for the babies. And I was comfortable with Rosemary, so this was fine. Melissa's first Sunday school teacher was Beverly Lee. And I don't know how many of you know Beverly Lee, but she, back then in the late 70s and early 80s, this was her home. This was her spiritual home, along with her son, Jason. And Beverly Lee became Reverend Beverly Lee, as some of you may know. And she became my daughter Melissa's first teacher. She was her first Sunday school teacher. I knew I was at home when I walked through this door. It was a place I was looking for. So my two daughters, Melissa and Sarah, and my son Garth, they grew up in the spiritual community from babies on, and Dr. Ruth was the minister of the center. So little did I know that I had stepped into the presence of a Zen master when I walked into Ruth Wilkerson's church. That was being a practitioner. That was practitioner's nickname for Dr. Ruth, the Zen master. The detail that was demanded, she held you to be responsible for self, truly. And in time, I discovered I was studying under Dr. Ruth, her teaching, her direction, her classes. I became a practitioner. I mean, that's just simply Ruth's energy was such. It was so powerful because not only did she teach here at Redlands, she taught at the Science of Mind RSU's center school. She taught. She was one of the professors there. So we had a real gift in Redlands of having Dr. Ruth as our minister. So my children did Sunday school here. They did church retreats. We had church retreats. The whole congregation would go off for a weekend. We would be together, separated from our cell phones, from everything. If you've ever done a retreat, you know what I'm talking about. It was awesome. It was a congregational retreat we always did in the fall of the year. And my children became part of that, and myself. The children did Sunday school, they did church retreats, they did youth camps, which actually were youth retreats because we'd be off separated from the grid for about 5 days. You separate anybody from the grid for about 5 days, you see marvelous epiphanies and changes that occur. And my children did this twice a year. What a gift. We also had a youth choir in the center that traveled to all the centers, the spiritual centers in Inland Empire of Science of Mind and Unity and RSI to perform. And that youth choir even performed at a Silmar in Pacific Grove, the year that Dr. Ruth was the Silmar director. And the person that directed the youth choir was Christy Wilkerson. We have all been interconnected for a long time, a long time. This goes back again, back into the, I believe it was the 80s sometime that Ruth was the Silmar director. So when I look back, as I looked back and explored and kept typing, that when I walked through the door, I had no idea what was going to happen to me. I just opened the door and I stepped in. And all the positive, wonderful things that happened. I look back at who wouldn't I have not met? Who would I have not connected with? Jamie Lula. Jamie Lula, if any of you knows that fantastic music person, he came to youth camp. He did youth camp. He did the retreats with the kids. He was the music. He was a practitioner. He was many things. He's a marvelous individual from Reverend Beckwith's church. And Thich Nhat Hanh, I would never have known who Thich Nhat Hanh was if it hadn't been for Science of Mind, because how I learned of him was through Science of Mind ministers. And I had the privilege of doing retreats with Thich Nhat Hanh. Awesome, awesome. I can't tell you, in seminars and lectures, it's forever in my memories. It's forever embedded in my soul as I am on that yellow brick road of, I call it the yellow brick road of spiritual awakening. And it just keeps going and going. So my time is starting to get up, isn't it, Mark? I'm just going on and on. Shall I wrap it up? I will wrap it up. I will go down to my last paragraph. We're all connected, past, present, future. It's all interconnected. It's a marvelous spiritual journey that we're all on together. I feel this center is a breathing beacon of light that I have responsibility to, that I take action for. That it's a beacon of light, that it's for all of us to burn brightly in this community, on this planet, to truly keep the light burning, the light of truth. And I have just one quote, and then I'm done. And it's a Persian poet from the 14th century. And the words are, "The place where you are right now, God circled on a map for you."
Ah, beautiful. Thank you, Audrey. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful history lesson as well. So we can say it as an affirmation, the place where I am right now,
The place where I am right now.
God circled for me. And now we have Al Yankee. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful history of this whole center, which has been in Redlands 70 plus years. For people who want to see the photograph of Dr. Ruth Wilkerson, one of our longest serving ministers, it's on the black piano. Al. And then Holly.
I won't tell you my life story. I'm going to laser this. Well, you know, if you want afterwards, I'll be happy to tell you everything that ever happened to me. I came to Science of Mind not as a minister, as a musician. I had played many, churches of all descriptions, never one of these places, because there are not that many of them, they're not that big, and they don't hire a lot of outside musicians, honestly. So it was the places with the bigger budgets where I was playing. And a friend of mine was playing over in Riverside, and his regular number two was not available, and he said, "Can you come over?" And I said, "Just bring your saxophone, we'll figure it out." So that turned into something kind of steady, and I was not a religious guy at all. In fact, I'm one of those atheists that you hear about. Oh, I know. Well, I've always thought that atheists were they're romantics. They are disenchanted a little bit. I know I was. So anyway, I guess kept coming back, playing music and listening to the sermons, as I did respectfully in every place that I ever went. The only difference was I thought these sounded pretty good, the sermons I was hearing. I thought, in fact, the word I used, I still remember when I was talking to the minister, I said, "These are the healthiest messages I've ever heard." Like you said, not all that fear, not all that fear-mongering. Then after time passed, and I was here, not here in different places, but here, I kept hearing these wonderful messages, and then I kept hearing the songs that kept being done, and they weren't directly reflective of the messages, and that was like the thought occurred, somebody needs to write some music that says what they're, that supports the messages that are so great. And that kept happening, and it kept happening until I figured out, oh, that's supposed to be me. So the song that I sang today was the very first song I wrote for one of these places, is Mind Matters. And I'm going to cut this short, I think, if haven't already gone too long. the message that I get out of all this, that you hear various versions of, and I want to tell you my version. You hear, we welcome all, fill in the blank. Everybody's welcome. We're all one. You hear versions of that, but sometimes I hear limitations put on it. We welcome all spiritual paths. Not all spiritual journeys follow a path. Some of them spread around. Some of them wander around quite a bit. So how about we welcome all spiritual things? Well, why does it have to be spiritual? Why can't we just welcome all? Period. And so my thought is that you hear in my songs again and again and again, there is no separation. It's all one. And that doesn't, people will say we welcome all people. Well, no. How about we welcome all sentient beings? How about we welcome all life? How about we welcome all that doesn't appear to be alive? How about everything from the smallest nanoparticle to the cosmos? How about that? All. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Holly Bocanegra.
Okay, so I have severe stage fright, so if I scream and run off, just forgive me, because I don't do talking. Sorry. I had no faith. I didn't believe in anything. I was an agnostic. I was raised Catholic. There's a lot of mysticism in Catholicism, and it's my foundation. And I did not believe anything, and I had to have concrete proof, and I got it late in my life, probably around the age of 50. My dog died in a really tragic way, and she manifested herself 3 years later. She only weighed 4 pounds, and she was a little white poodle, and she manifested herself on Orange Street because I was crying for 3 years. So that was my first actual contact with eternal life. And the second was my psychic. When my mom passed, I went to the psychic because I missed my mom, and she repeated everything that I said to myself in my living room after my mom was gone. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to be with you. I'm done. I'm lonely. And she repeated everything I had said to my mom. And one more thing I had told my mom, because I was really isolated after she left. And one of the things I told my mom in my living room was, I don't even have anybody to go to the movies with. So the psychic repeated everything. And I got up to leave, and I go, thank you, but I still didn't believe it. And so when I got up to leave, the psychic said, oh, one more thing, Holly. And I go, what? And I just turned around. She goes, your mom says you're going to find someone to go to the movies with. And so that was my proof that there is eternal life after this. And I didn't know until I was like 55. Oops. And so when my mom passed, I don't know when this all happened, but there was a point where one of my teacher friends told me, what do you do on Sunday? And I'm like, well, I go to the cemetery and I cry for 3 hours and then I go home because I missed my mother. And so he goes, well, what about church? Why don't you go to church? I'm like, oh, okay, cool, I'll go. And when I got here, I met all of these beautiful human beings, and they have become my life and my family. And what I want to say is that I started I had to have the miracles, unfortunately, for me. But once that happened, then I was able to open up and read the literature and realize the truth that, there are universal truths among all of our religions. And those universal truths, they cover it is the truth, and they're in every path, every faith. And so to me, Science of mind is cause and effect. It's karma. It is your thoughts and your emotions are the power within. And you have the power of God and the universe. And you, as long as you do the right thing, as long as you love, then you are experiencing eternal life and love, beauty, and all the words that we use that Mark and Ed and everybody taught me, love, peace, joy, beauty, abundance, truth. And this teaching is very old. I mean, the book that I'm reading now was written in the 1800s. It's called The Magic Path of Intuition by Florence Shen. This is a very old teaching. This isn't, like a couple of years old. This is new thought, which has been around since at least the mid-1800s. And most of the ministers here are women. Most of them throughout the last 75 years have been girls, so girl power. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, David, did you want to speak from there? Okay.
Hello. Let me see if I put the microphone on. Okay, so yeah, I'm kind of like Al a bit because I went through a big atheist phase in college, and I'm kind of still the same way. One of the things that was really important to me is that when I started getting involved in like volunteering for like political campaigns and doing that sort of thing, I found myself less interested in atheism as an organizing principle. I mean, I still follow some of them, but they're just not really worried about anything that I find to be important. And they're when they post things, they're like saying, man, wouldn't it be great if there was atheists on the Supreme Court? And I'm like, I don't care. I'm just, why is that even, that's not the most pressing issue. And it just like, I don't know how you can be worried about that. Okay, I don't want to get a political discussion. But my point is that I kind of looked at it as a tool set, and especially when I took the foundations class, it was emphasized you can use this as tools. You can use what works for you. You can not use what doesn't work for you. And that blew my mind because I was raised Christian, and you're not allowed to question the dogma. You're not allowed to question the Bible. The word's a word. It says it right there. You better follow it. And I just, having this kind of teaching where they allowed you, hey, come to your own conclusion. You can be a free thinker. And this little, I got this on my phone because I think this little sign that was up really, this is when I knew I was in the right place. It was a notice that I guess someone was doing like a pranic healing practitioner. Someone did that. And I know that this is just like a boilerplate, but this little sign, it just said, the healing practitioners are not doctors, and we do not want you to get off your medicine. This is not medicine. This is intended to complement scientific medicine, not to replace it. And I'm just like, wow, like that's like blowing my mind, because it's just like you actually are saying that this is not like science, and we're not saying it is, and and even we're still using that. Like when we go to the metaphysical fair, we have a disclaimer there too that says, hey, this is for entertainment purposes only. We're not saying, because I don't agree with everything that, some people, I'm not even saying the current version because I haven't even been, but I'm just saying that previous versions, there's different people that believe different things. My point is that you don't have to agree on everything, but we can respect each other, and you could put a little disclaimer up and say, hey, we're not saying get off your medicine, because coming from a family with mental illness, I've had so many people tell me that, and I'm sorry, unless you've lived with someone who's like schizophrenic or schizoaffective, you don't know what you're talking about, and you should shut up, because I'm so sick of people telling me, oh, well, why don't you just stop taking the medicine? Yeah. Trust me, we've done that. every person who's been on medication have tried not being on medication. So anyway, getting way off tangent, but yeah, that's kind of one of the things I like. I like the teaching. I like that we can use it. I like it. You could take whatever you already have, and it even says, like, there was another flyer. I don't have it on me. There was another flyer that literally says, nothing that we teach here is above questioning, not even anything the founder said, Ernest Holmes. It says, question him too. Like, it's like, what kind of church does that? What kind of church tells you, hey, our founder, he might have been wrong on certain things. So just keep that in mind. Like, I love that. I just think that it's such a open-minded thing. So that's enough of my time.
Okay, so we have two more, and thank you for your patience and willingness to stay. The teaching symbol itself is open at the top because that was from Holmes. Do you see it below? It's meant, the tilde at the top means that quantum physics would come later. All the things we're experiencing now would come later. Mac, do you have anything you want to share? Yeah.
I'll be quick, but I heard about playing here a long time ago from my old drum instructor. Rest in peace to him. But when I came here, it was very interesting because for me, I identified at that time as an atheist, and then later in my life, I realized, maybe I need more spirituality in my life, and I identified as an agnostic. And then I got this gig to come and play here. And similar experience, I really enjoyed the words that were said. I enjoyed the feeling in here. And most importantly, I felt loved. You know what I mean? I felt loved. I can feel the love in everyone. And it was very important to me. And I can definitely tell in my life, and in my young life, it's going to be a very important and defining chapter in my spiritual path. But yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me want to cry. I'm not crying. Are you crying? All right, ladies and gentlemen, the board president, Ed Torres.
Okay, I get to finish. So, 3 things I want to share with you. First, I come from the background of being a born-again Christian, an evangelical Christian of the 80s. I was taught to judge. I was taught that no one else is right except our teaching. I was taught to not intermingle with anyone who didn't believe like I did or like our teaching did, and that Jesus was the only way, the truth, and the life. Then I went into ministerial school because I thought that was my path, and it was called the Timothy Program. And we studied the Bible from the beginning to the end on everything. We studied Mormonism, Judaism, Hinduism, all the different teachings to teach us why they were wrong and we were right. And I came across, and Eileen mentioned it, it was Hebrews 11:1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And I didn't understand that. But when I realized that, God had a plan for me, and that I had to accept myself for who I was. And trust me, being in a evangelical church, in the ministry, and living in a house with 5 other men, that is not the good time to come out being gay. But I did. And I dealt with it very harshly, and I realized this was not the place for me, because I would have to judge myself, condemn myself, and hate myself, because that's what the teaching taught. So I left the church, and like anyone who discovers who they are, you go to West Hollywood, and you discover yourself, and you find out who you are and what your life is or supposed to be. And so during that time, I met a very wonderful person who showed me about a teaching, and that was Brother Mark. And he showed me Science of Mind, in Santa Monica with Agape. And I realized, I was sitting there singing a song, and I don't remember the song, but Al, the power, and Mac, the power of the words of music. We were taught under Pastor George that the music opens your soul so the message can come in and minister to you and heal you. So I want you two gentlemen, and anyone, and you too, Gilman, the power of music opens the people's souls so words of wisdom can come in and heal. And I thank all of you for having that gift, because that's so powerful, so powerful. But what I realized is when Mark brought me to Science of Mind, I realized freedom. To stand in truth, to love, to be joyful, and to stay in what's known about myself. I loved myself. I appreciate who I am. And most importantly, this center has shown us to be a beacon of the light, because this is what I'm going to end with, and this is what I want all of you to understand. Thank you for being who you are, and thank you for doing what you do. Who you are is wonderful, and what you do is important. And remember that, no matter what anyone says, no matter what anyone tells you who you think you should be, what you should believe, what you should learn, what you should talk, always remember that all the gifts of the Spirit are within you. Knowledge, wisdom, insight, understanding, love. Those are the gifts that God in the universe has bestowed upon you as individuals. Grab it, accept it, acknowledge it. We're not weak, we have strength. We're not shy, we have boldness. And remember, share the love to all around you, because you are important. Thank you.
All right, so we went way over, and I apologize again, and want to say thank you to everybody who shared. Wasn't that beautiful? It's really beautiful to share from your heart. So for those of you who have a moment or two that you want to share for next week, if you're able to come, just see me after, and I'll work you into next Sunday. It's now time for our offering, so the ushers are coming forth. I see Jean had her hand up. Anybody else for next week? Just come see me right after service, and I'll make sure you get your moment to share as well. Oh, okay. Well, you could do the song. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't know I forgot there was a song. Go ahead. We'll do the song, and then we're going to do the offering. Okay. Of course, the Dream Band. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dream Band.
I'll try to play this double time so we can get through it. I just wanted to add, David mentioned the word dogma. A few years back, my Golden Rule atheist / humanist brother gave me a bumper sticker that said, "My karma ran over my dogma." I like that. Okay, so this is a show tune, like Al said. You're probably not going to hear it in a Christian church, but we're going to do it here. Gonna build a mountain from a little hill. Gonna build me a mountain, at least I hope I will. Gonna build a mountain, gonna build it high. Don't know how I'm gonna do it, only know I'm gonna try. Gonna build me a daydream from a little hole. Gonna push that daydream see it through. Gonna build a mountain and a daydream, gonna make them both come true. Gonna build a heaven from a little hell. Gonna build me a heaven, and I know darn well, if I build my mountain of love with a lot of care, take my daydream up the mountain, heaven will be waiting there. Mac! Build that heaven as I will someday. And the Lord sends Gabriel to take me away. Wanna find young son to take my place. Leave a son in my heaven on earth with the Lord's good grace. Wanna find young son to take my place. I'll leave a son in my heaven on earth with the Lord's good grace. Gonna build a mountain of love, overflow my fountain of love. Gonna build a mountain of love, yeah, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dream Band. Give it up for the Dream Band. Thank you so much. And the ushers are here. It's time for our conscious giving. I'm going to invite you to say the affirmation with me if you agree. It will bless our tithes and our gifts and our offerings. Know that the same portal from which we give is indeed the same portal from which we receive. So because this center, that church, has been in Redlands for 70 plus years, we know it shall be maintained for another 70 plus years into eternity. Can you feel it? Together we say, from the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper. It is evidence of my faith and my belief. It does great work in the world, and it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
Thank you for giving, and thank you for receiving, and thank you for being who you are. Thank you for breathing, and thank you for believing, and thank you for being who you are. The universe is flowing with love that's ever growing. And you are a vessel of that love. So thank you for caring, and bless you for your sharing, and thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being who you are.
So I invite the congregation to outstretch our hands toward the offering received. We know it is sufficient to continue to maintain CRS Redlands as an inspired, fulfilled, sustained, and maintained, fully funded idea in the mind of the divine. Yes? Yes. And so it is. And so for those who are here and you want to give weekly, you can fill out a form. Just let any of our board members know after service. And there should be a way to click on a Donate Now button or something online. We can put that in the chat. You have your hand up, Phil? Oh, affirming it. And so it is. And now it's time for the announcements with Ann. Again, thank you so much to all of our speakers. And again, thank you to all of you for your extended listening. We typically end service about 25, 30 minutes ago. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, these are the announcements for Sunday, July 7th. On Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., you can join the book club on Zoom. It is hosted by Holly. You can see her after service. Our membership meeting is coming up on Sunday, August 4th at 11:30 a.m. right here in the sanctuary after service. You can also participate online via Zoom. We can get you those details. The next metaphysical fair is this month, and Shopping Bazaar. We have some great people coming and great vendors as well. Dogs for Dogs will be here too all day. That is Saturday, July 27th. And last but not least, well, two more things. We have some classes that are forthcoming. We do not have dates on them yet. One of them will be mandala making. We'll have some information at the back. Also, I'm not going to pronounce this correct. This Saturday, there is a parade. Can you pronounce this for me? Yeah. Rath Yatra, July 13th, Saturday, there's a parade. We'll have a flyer in the back. And it is our lovely Jean's birthday today, and we invite you all to join us in singing a little happy birthday to Jean.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jean. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. Jean does wonderful work for us with the Women's Cold Weather Shelter. She is magic, and we appreciate her so much. Lastly, please join us right after service in the back. We have food and snacks, and we'd love to get to know you more. Until next week, bye.
So our closing song today, David will put up the lyrics. We have a song you all know with slightly, just very slightly modified New Thought lyrics. You can sing along if you want. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties among the fruited plain. America, America, in grace and liberty, embrace the good of brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriots' dream that sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam undimmed by human tears. America, America, let love thy power be, till selfish gain no longer stain the man